of Global Columbus. My name is Guadalupe Velasquez, and I'll be your host for the second segment of this show. And for the second segment, we'll be talking about Women's History Month and also Women's International Day, which is coming up tomorrow, actually March 8th. And our guests tonight are Barb Smoot, who is the Executive Director of WELD, Khadra Mohammed, who is the Director for the Center for Somali Women's Advancement, and Samia Alzir, President of Arab Americans of Central Ohio. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
And so, again, before we start on the topic at hand, let's get to know a little bit about each of you. Barb, would you mind starting?
Certainly. Originally, I'm from the East Coast, Massachusetts, actually, and I accepted a job with Nationwide as an actuary of all things related to pricing and product development. Worked there for 21 years, and one of the things that I learned as I got older is to follow my heart, follow my passion, and my passion is about supporting women's leadership. So I accepted a position as Executive Director for WELD, and it's been a thrilling and enjoyable ride ever since.
And WELD means?
Women for Economic and Leadership Development. We advance women's leadership, and we help women-owned businesses grow their business.
Okay, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Khadra?
My name is Khadra Mohammed. I was born and raised in Somalia. I moved to Columbus 2000, early part of year 2000. I am social worker by training, but I started a Center for Somali Women's Advancement last year, where we serve Somali women both here in the United States and Horn of Africa. We provide hope for Somali women and girls and the tools they need for them to build secure and environment that's secure and positive environment and good relationship at all levels of the society.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Samia?
Okay, well, I represent the Arab American of Central Ohio. It's a volunteer-based nonprofit organization, and in the 1990 professional businessmen and women from the Arab community felt the need to establish an organization to help the increase in immigrant of Arab from Arab countries to cities and towns in Columbus, Ohio, or in Ohio in general. I've been with the AACO for the past 14 years, but I work in finance for the past 16 years. And I'm assistant general manager at an IT company.
Okay. Wow, very interesting.
Thank you.
Now, since tomorrow is Women's International Day, why don't we talk about that first? Would you like to share what it is and why we're celebrating it?
The Women's International Day is March 8th. It's a world-recognized day to celebrate women's achievements, whether it's a past, present, or the future. It's women pioneers celebration for women pioneers, women who worked it or women who advocated for social change, whether it's voting rights or such a thing. Historically, Women's Day, International Day, was started. Or observing the day started back in early part of 1900. And 1909, the day was celebrated nationally in the United States by the then Socialist Party, and followed by 1911 and a Copenhagen conference where the world adopted celebrating Women's Day in February. And after that, then by 1975, United Nations recognized as the Women's Year, and the day March 8th came about that.
Oh, thank you for that detail. And Samia, would you like to add anything about
I'm thinking tomorrow more than half of the world population will wake up for 101 years of International Women's Day, and I do insist on more than half of the population are women. And it's really sometimes hard to know if we're going to be celebrating tomorrow or maybe little disappointed that we are still in the 21st century. Women still get paid less than men and still pay more than men, from car insurance to health care. So I think in a world where women became as high as astronaut and a truck driver, she's still getting paid less, and she's still not receiving all her equal rights to men. And I think that's kind of disappointing, but maybe to encourage ourselves, we should look at the improvement that happened in the past 6 years. The Institute of Economic Forum showed that 80% of the percentage of the countries in the world showed improvement in the past 6 years for women rights, but they still saying in economy and politics they still have long way to go.
And that's a perfect segue for Barb to share with us some updated statistics from the census. Barb?
Yes, what WELD, in conjunction with the Institute on Women and Otterbein University, did for our community is we took a look at how women are really faring in top leadership. And when we say top leadership, we mean at the board level, the CEO level, also the executive officer level as well. This is where women can really make an impact on the financial returns of an organization or a company. We looked at our own census data and actually counted how women are doing. And there are some mixed results. We celebrated last night at our keynote 2 companies in particular who are doing well. Scott's Miracle-Gro received an award for having over 25% of their board as women.
Great.
And Abercrombie & Fitch was recognized for the number of female executive officers. So we have some good results to share, but obviously there are some opportunities for improvement. One of the things for sure is that when women are at the table and they're at the top working in concert with men, companies earn more regardless of any type of economic return measure you'd like to look at.
Thank you. And we'll go into more detail about that. I want to be sure that we talk a little bit about the event that you're going to be holding, Kadra, tomorrow at the State House.
Yes, tomorrow is going to be exciting day for me and for all women, I hope, of Central Ohio. I waited this for a long time. When I was growing up, I grew up with the day's celebration. I mean, the parts of the world, there are parts in the world that women get the day off of work.
Wow.
Like in China,
Oh, I like that.
in Italy, every and each single woman gets a flower in commemoration of the day.
Oh.
So I lived in Columbus, Ohio for over a decade, and I always waited when somebody is going to celebrate this in Central Ohio, and when will I see something happen in our State House, and that all women from all walks of life will come together. So I thought, why don't I start something myself? So I put together an event with the help of many people like you, thank you. And this wonderful event is coming up tomorrow, and it will never be more exciting. And one of my daughters, she's 9 years old, she was asking me, what's that, mommy, you are going to do that's all the time women, you've been saying all past week? And I said, it's going to be Women's Day. And she couldn't understand, and she said, is it Women's Birthday? So we are women, we have 2 birthdays. And I thought, what a nice way to put it.
Yes.
And she's only 9, so for the woman in the future, like 9-year-old, who has that hope for that day, thinks that belongs to her,
Yes.
I think it's a wonderful day that we all celebrate our achievements.
And thank you, because now you have started a tradition in Columbus, and we're just going to grow and grow every year with this. And so, yeah, and just like Valentine's Day or Sweetest Day, Columbus and Central Ohio is going to know about International Women's Day. I have no doubt with the women at this table. Samia, and you also have an event coming up on Saturday.
We do. It's a women workshop. It's we got braver, and we're gonna do it all day from 1 to 6 o'clock. That will be Hillier, the YMCA. We were so lucky to have 6 powerful women to speak at those 6 hours. Just quickly, I'm gonna just say the name of the speakers who are gonna be that day. We're going to have Jennifer Nimmer. She's a legal director of CARE Columbus, the Council on American Islamic Relations. She's going to basically talk about women legal rights in general, as a wife, as an employee, as a mother. And there will be time for everybody to ask their questions. We're also going to have Karen Marshall to talk about women in business. And she's the vice president of membership, the National Association of Women Business Owners, Columbus, and she's the owner of Project Vero Consulting. We're also going to talk about women in education, and we were very, very lucky to have Tally Hurt. She's the former director of financial aid at the Ohio State University, and she also going to be talking about women education and all the financial help that they can get either for their education or other things that they can get. We're also going to have Julia Gerber. She's the CEO of Institute on Women, and she is the senior vice president of COSI. And we are so happy that we're going to have all these ladies. We know Debbie Bardahan, and she's a great lady. She's the president of Aisha Ray of Hope. She takes care of taking care of women who've been victims to domestic violence, and everything goes with that as financial help or shelter or emotional help. And for the children also who's affected to that. For the same subject, we can have also Zarqa Abed, and she's a campaign manager for Project Sakina. Project started 2 years ago after a Muslim woman got killed, and just as a discrimination for her religion and her headscarf. So they also take care of discrimination against women. And it's going to be a very, very busy day, and we are so proud to have all these ladies to come that day, and everybody's welcome.
It's going to be an outstanding conference. I'm only sorry that we won't be able to make it because we have also an additional conference.
Another great event.
Right,
exactly.
that Barb, if you could please talk a little bit about coming up tomorrow. I'm sorry, Saturday. There'll be a conference at Otterbein as well.
Yes, Week of the Woman.
Yes.
First
Week
of all,
the Woman.
Thank you for bringing us all here today, because now we just identified another partner that we can bring in as we try to collaborate with
on all of these
things. One of the things that we found in Columbus is that there are so many celebrations going on this week, and women have enough decisions to make in a day as it is. So how do we make it easier when we try to, by coordinating each of the events? So a collection of organizations got together, Otterbein University, the Women's Book, the YWCA, WELD, and also United Way, coordinated all their celebrations this week so that you don't have to make those decisions as to which ones that you go to. And the week culminates with Opportunity Nation, headed up at Otterbein University, and it's really a day-long dialogue about how to leverage women in secondary education to help prepare them to be leaders in the 21st century. It's everything from dealing with social issues, economic issues, political issues. The weekend really begins Friday evening with their keynote speaker, Jolek. So we're excited about it.
And what's interesting about that conference, and we can ask you just to go to the Otterbein website to find out more information about that conference, is that it's a play on words because it's Opportunity Nation, but it's called the New American Woman. Yes. And so that's very interesting. Okay, Kadra, please share with us again a little bit more details about your event, and I think we can put the information up on the screen as well regarding the International Women's Day at the State House.
The event will start tomorrow around 10:30 with networking, and by 11 o'clock the keynote speaking will be starting. The keynote speakers include Representative Tracy Maxwell Head, the Minority Whip, and also Priscilla Tyson, the councilwoman, will be there as another keynote speaker. Another woman, the president of WELD, Debbie Johnson, will be there to share a few remarks about this wonderful initiative, WELD. I'm very excited to partner with WELD. And so on. There will be leadership awards given to some outstanding Somali women leaders in the community for their outstanding work. And there will be Somali food, of course, and I think It will be very wonderful event. And if you can check our website, it's www.centerforsomaliwomen.org, or you can reach my email. You can reach me by email at katrashire@hotmail.com. My phone is 614-783-1937, and it will be a wonderful day. I hope our women from Central Ohio will join us, and we will be overcrowded at the State House. We don't mind.
And if you're just joining us, this is a live show, so we welcome you to give us a call at 614-645-6557. We are taking calls on the subject of women in leadership, Women's History Month, the activities going on, as well as anything related to women and economic development. We have experts here, so please give us a call, 614-645-6557. Now, since we're talking about recognizing women's achievements, I was curious, Barb, if you had any statistics about what women are doing internationally, especially along the lines of contributing to corporations and organizations in the world.
One of the things that's very interesting to look at is what's going on with women on corporate boards in a number of countries. There are some countries that actually have mandates to have a certain percentage of women on boards by a certain, they have a certain length of time to get there, or else some severe consequences will take place. One of the incredible things is the companies didn't self-destruct by having all these women join the boards. These companies are performing well, and there are some lessons learned in terms of when you have men and women in sufficient numbers to collaborate. Companies really do become stronger, and companies actually give back more philanthropically to their communities when more women are on boards.
Go figure.
Yes.
And in general, what are some other contributions that you may know of, ladies, of women internationally that are doing great work?
Actually, last year when we were at the show, we had the uprising in the Arab countries. It was Egypt and Libya and Tunisia around that time. We still have a long way to go. It's Syria, unfortunately, and other countries. And actually with those movements, there is a lot of improvement in women getting their rights in everything in general in the Arab countries. And just here quickly, we have for the first time ever in Egypt and maybe many other countries, we have the first president candidate in Egypt. Yeah, and that wasn't even part of the constitution there. So women have no right to do that. And even though we are so sad for all the loss of lives and all the other loss they had to sacrifice for this, I'm hoping that the future is bringing things that maybe it's worth all that suffering for a while, you know. We wish they didn't have to go through that to get their rights. Women and the population in general over there in those countries. We have also the first Arab American woman who became one of NASA's team.
Wow.
She was on the news 3 days ago.
Wonderful.
And for the first time ever in an Arabic country, we have a woman who won Nobel Prize.
Right.
That's
that
in
was
Yemen.
Fall. Yes.
That's in Yemen. And also we have a lot of higher percentage. Last year, the study showed in the UN that the Arab world getting much higher percentage in women education. And they actually, believe it or not, it's kind of shocking news that Qatar is one of the Gulf Arabic countries. They voted it as the best place for a woman to get education.
Wow.
All the expenses for education for women is completely paid. They don't have to pay anything. And the level of education is so high. There is a lot of colleges and universities from the US, Germany, and England that they have other branches in Qatar. So the level of education is high, and women enrollment in higher education is the highest there.
That's
so
outstanding.
Yes, I would like to add, but some development in Somalia, despite the political instability and the turbulence on Somalia for so many years. There are Somali women who are making it through. Somali women who are struggling to maintain their children, and now to step up to the political play, to contribute to the peacemaking. They were attending the peace conferences, though they were always marginalized, and their participation was not that much welcomed. But there are lots of Somali women who are making history now in participating in these political arenas and going through all the difficulties that they have to overcome to be political decision makers, to make some positive impact. I just like to share there was a Somali woman for the first time who was nominated for Nobel Peace Prize, Dr. Hawa Abdi of Mogadishu. She's a woman who was a medical doctor before the war broke, and who in her family field, when the war broke, started a makeshift clinic for the women and the children, and for nobody's help, she was running this clinic, and she's now getting a little bit tired and a little bit old, and by side is her two daughters trained by her who are continuing that work. So we have that fabulous Somalian women who are doing this great job. And the latest development in the peace accord, the latest peace accord, which held in Garowe, a town in northern part of Somalia, and women were able to advocate for the increase of the parliament quota up to 30%. So there is a great development, and I give them much more credit than everybody else around the world, given what they have to go through in order for them to make a difference.
Yeah, so women are making strides internationally.
Women are making
Yes, Barb, did you want to add something?
I'd like to share some statistics in terms of what women as business owners contribute to our country.
Please do.
You know, when you look at how to improve an economy around the world, the best place to go is to invest in women and women-owned businesses and the leadership development of women. When you look at, according to the Center of Women's Business Research, the number of women-owned businesses and what they contribute $3 trillion on our economy each year. They produce 23 million jobs in this country, 16% of all U.S. jobs, and 4.2% revenues. And if you combine the U.S.-based women-owned businesses and they were their own country, they would have the 5th largest GDP in the world, trailing a little bit behind Germany, ahead of countries like France, United Kingdom, and Italy. This is powerful, and when you invest in women and help them start their own businesses and grow their own businesses, it's great for all of us.
Yes, it is. So I'm so sad to say the show is already time to wrap up. I know. And so we're going to need to meet again and do some follow-up discussion and dialogue on this, because we're going to have to say goodnight to our viewing audience. However, I'm glad we had this opportunity to reflect and to see what women are accomplishing in our society. And I see you wanted to say one thing.
Yeah, just one thing I have to mention, that I wanted to thank CARE Ohio for being partner with us on this event.
Okay.
So they did a great job also for this event.
Thank you. And so I'm glad we had this time to celebrate women, especially in honor of Women's Month. I'm very proud to be a part of the women and the projects going on here, but I'm really proud about the women that are in Columbus, because of any city I've ever lived in, the women are so strong and dynamic in Columbus, and they really do support each other. And so with that, we'd like to wrap up the show. Thank you for viewing Global Columbus. And also, please check out the websites that we've provided on this show to find out more information. Thanks again, and have a good night.